Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree if you are new here, and welcome back to Palette Throwback Thursdays. In today's video, I'm going to be pairing together the BH Cosmetics Crystal Zodiac palette with the Stila Glitter and Glow in the shade Wanderlust. So if you are interested in seeing how I pair these two products together, then just keep on watching. Alright, I'm going to start off with a big fluffy brush, and I'm going to go into the matte Tiger's Eye shade and start using that as my transition. You know, this is one of those palettes I lusted after for years, literal fucking years, and it was on sale one day at Ulta, and I finally pulled the trigger and I got it. And I've had it for months now, and I think I've used it all of twice. I don't know why, for some reason my brain like cannot comprehend what to do with this palette now that I have it. The formula is great, like it's the same as all of the other Zodiac palettes, and like it's a great formula. I don't know why my brain just like doesn't know what to do with this. And so with that being said, today's look is not going to be groundbreaking or earth-shattering, because I still look at it and I'm still like, the fuck do I do with this? Which really means I should just like, you know, part ways with it, but then there's just like some part of me that's just like, no, like I'll get it eventually. I'll get there. But like, look how easy it blends. Like it applies like fucking butter, but and then there's that other part of me that like doesn't want to get rid of it, because BH is, I don't know that they're ceasing to exist, but they are changing their existence. Next up, I'm going to take a slightly smaller but still fluffy brush. I'm going to go into the matte Carnelian shade and fucking just blend. I don't really know exactly where I'm going to place this yet, because I think I'm going to try to spice this up just a little bit. Anyways, I recently did my best friend's makeup for a photo shoot that she was doing. Her husband's a photographer, and he needed to kind of basically do like a test shoot sort of thing, and they had just gotten back from being out of the country, and she was just like, I'm going to be way too tired to do my makeup, like can you do it for me? And I was like, no problem, bud. I did her makeup, and he posted the pictures, obviously tagged me, obviously, as the makeup artist. And with that, two people have now reached out to book him and I like together, like he being the photographer and me being the makeup artist, which is cool. Like definitely something that I like aspire to fucking do. I just have never like pulled the trigger on it. Part of it has to do with just my knowledge of the fact that doing that requires me to deal with people, you know? Anyways, so we started talking about it, and we've already planned to do a test shoot on another mutual friend of ours, like really just kind of working out like how he and I would work together. Because when my best friend came over, like for me to do her makeup, like we just did it in this room, like with my makeup. Like she's my best friend. I don't give a flying fuck about using my shit on her face, you know? But it's a different story when we're talking about working on strangers, people I don't know. So we're in the process of booking this, like these two shoots, and we're in the process of setting up a test shoot with someone else to kind of figure out like, you know, what the workflow would be and everything like that. By the way, I'm taking this red and I'm kind of focusing it a little bit more on my inner corner, and then again on my outer corner, kind of like a halo, but kind of not. But I'm keeping like a little bit of like less blendedness right there. Anyways, so as all of this was coming together, I started playing around with like, okay, well, how would I want my kit to look, right? I obviously am paying for this entirely out of pocket. I would be paid to do these shoots, aside from the one test shoot, but I would be paid to do these shoots, so in theory, at some point my what I put out would be paid back, obviously, unless I literally only do these 2 shoots, and then in which case I would just be out on whatever makeup I've used. But even my mom was like, dude, just go for it, like, give it a shot. If you love it, you love it. If you don't, then, you know, at least you tried, and you can say that you tried and then take it from there. So started really like taking a look to see like how I would want my kit to look. And I know that I love like BH brushes. That's where I'm circling back on this, but I know that I love BH brushes, and I would like to, if I have a kit, I want to keep kit brushes separate from my brushes. Now obviously if I only do these 2 shoots and then decide that it's not for me, I will end up just like giving those brushes, like putting those brushes into my collection, and using them on my own eyeballs and face. I was like, well, let me like take a little look at BH's website. Mind you, we were coming into Memorial Day weekend. That's really where a lot of this was flowing. And I went in with the, you know, thought process of, well, if this doesn't work, then brushes are brushes. They can always be put into my collection. It's not like I'm talking about like foundations that I'm purchasing that aren't my shade, you know? So I was on BH's website and I was like, oh fuck, they're, you know, I had that moment and that memory that like, oh, like they filed for bankruptcy. I know they were purchased or whatever by Makeup Revolution, so I don't know if their formulas are being taken over to that brand or if Makeup Revolution is just going to keep them afloat here. I'm not at the CEO tables. I don't know the drill, you know? But see, these shades are kind of also blending away a little bit. Like, I wish I had more depth, but the warmth that I need is like only in these 3 shades. We'll make it work. All of their fucking brushes were like 70% off, and I was like, well, fuck it, I'm pulling the trigger on that. And I knew which bronzers I wanted in my kit as well, and it was gonna be the Belgian Waffle bronzer palette, because that has a decent-ish, not a great, but like a decent-ish like shade range. And then there was a different bronzer palette, the Tanned into Loom. I just realized I'm not wearing my rings, so sorry to my husband. But there's a different bronzer palette that I had purchased in the past, and I ended up returning because it was way, way, way too deep for me. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start here with my bronzers, and then as I book other clients and as I'm making money, because I need to literally like look at the 2 clients that I'm booking and going, these are your skin tones, this is where I'm starting, rather than like going all in on this massive shade range that I don't have clients booked for yet, especially because I'm paying out of pocket. So I would rather just kind of like, as I'm doing consultations, be like, okay, this is your shade range and this is what else I need to add to my kit. Starting out very small here. Anyways, so BH had those 2 bronzer palettes on their website as well, on like 70% off. And I was like, well, fuck, I'm gonna pull the fucking trigger on this. And even if for some weird reason these don't get booked at all, I'll just keep the Belgian for myself because I use that already regularly. And then I will just donate or something, or find a friend or something to give the deeper one to. I didn't want to wait and then not get it, you know? But I do think that it would be fun if this all works out to do like a what's in my makeup kit bag, like video. What's in my kit video, I guess I should say. Let me fucking finesse this or something, because something's not working out for me right now. Is this why I struggle with this palette? Because it actually isn't as good of a formula as the other ones? Is that my issue here? I'm not doing anything different than I normally fucking do. Why am I struggling so much? You know what, we're just gonna move on and hope that once everything's on and it's all said, like, look how much it like fluffed around my face. I don't know. I'm just gonna move on and hope that once everything is kind of all said and done on my face that it will pull together a little bit better. I'm gonna go in with the Stila Glitter and Glow in the shade Wanderlust, and I'm just gonna put this on my eyes. Alright, I'm gonna take, this might be a bad idea, even though I literally said I'm gonna move on and whatever. I'm gonna take the shimmer carnelian on my finger, which once I swirl it all together, that is what color it is right there. And I'm just gonna kind of press this on my outer corner. I'm gonna jump off and clean up my face because Lord knows I fucking need it. And I'm gonna put on my base and my bronzer, and I will be back to continue working on this look. No, I never put on my rings. I clearly did a little something extra. Just the outer corner was just pissing me off, and just the fact that like the shades had really like, I'm looking up at myself in my viewfinder, but just like, you can see how like predominantly red it is underneath my eyes, and that just like was not coming through on my lids no matter what I did. The other shades just really blended together and blended away, and it just was bothering me. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go in with the liner and let Wanderlust just really be the star of the show, not the palette. And I'm much more pleased with how it looks now than how it was looking when I got off camera. Much more pleased. Even then, like this smoking it out under my under eye was still a little bit like iffy. But yeah, I had to do something slightly different. But I did obviously put on bronzer, and I went in with the e.l.f. Primer Infused bronzers in Forever Sunkissed and Perpetually Tan, and you know, all that jazz. For my blush, I'm gonna start out with the Flower Beauty Flower Pots blush in the shade Petal, not Petal Primrose, Spiced Petal. This is like one of my absolute all-time favorite blushes. And I'm going in with a brush that's like slightly too big for what I want to do, but it's, I'm severely need to wash brushes. But I literally just washed all of my sponges because I was completely out of clean sponges. Which, like, you can use a dirty brush. You can't really use a dirty sponge. So I literally just washed them all yesterday, so they're sitting on a towel in my bathroom, like drying out the rest of the way, so that when I put them in something to hold them, they don't like get all gross and mildewy or moldy or whatever. So like, where am I supposed to wash my brushes at if I have sponges sitting there? And that's just the excuse that I'm going to continue to use. And then I'm gonna take this Pixi Glowy powder, plus C Glowy powder in Peach Dew on a big fluffy brush, and I'm just going to kind of use this as like a blush topper. And then for my highlight, I'm gonna go in with an oldie but a goodie. This is the Pixi Glowy Gossamer Duo in Subtle Sunrise. So I'm just gonna use the lighter shade on my inner corners, and then for my cheeks, I'm gonna layer the two together. And I've really been enjoying just like, I still use this more like kind of, I guess, brush that really focuses your highlight, but mostly because I'm using my looser one to set my brow bone, because my normal brow setting brow bone setting powder brush is very dirty. Anyways, I, first of all, have been really loving putting highlight right there. I don't know why. Anyways, I've really been enjoying, like, I'll start off with it more precise and then just really swirling and like buffing it in just all through the temple up into the brow bone. Just like a really like loose, I'll take it down to the cheek, like the apples of the cheek, just, you know, everywhere. Just really glowy, but like not so precise and like it's gotta be right at the top of the cheekbone. I just fucking put it everywhere. And then if I'm going in like I am today with something that's a little bit more like I'm layering, so I want one that's like a little bit brighter, then I'll kind of focus that one at the very high points. I'm gonna jump off and finish up the rest of my face. For my lips, I'm gonna go in, I have been wearing this a lot lately and I have been obsessed with the formula. This is the Maybelline Superstate Vinyl Ink Lipstick in the shade Peachy. This lasts all day and doesn't like feel gross or like drying or like pill up or flake off or anything. It's a really, really amazing formula. I actually bought like a really bright, true like blue red and I wore that yesterday, and granted I did have nachos for lunch, so like the oils from like the cheese and stuff did kind of definitely break down my lipstick, but like it wore so beautifully. I have such a hard time with red liquid lipsticks. I always feel like they just, I'm assuming it's just the pigment that has to go into it, but they always just feel different. Like I can have two of the exact same liquid lipstick, one in a nude and one in like a red, and the nude will be comfortable and easy to wear and long lasting, whereas the red will feel like thick and streaky and just like it'll start to flake off throughout the day, especially like right in this area right here. And that one did not do it at all. So I'm really, really loving that formula. But I'm gonna jump off, finish up the rest of my face. I'll be back to show you guys the final look. Just like look at how good this lipstick looks. Like it's already kind of set down a little bit and it'll stay this kind of slightly glossy finish for a couple hours, and then it'll kind of set down a little bit more to like a more matte, and it just locks in. The first time I wore it, I put it on at probably like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, and I got home from work and doing whatever I needed to do after work at probably like 7:30, 8 o'clock-ish, and I looked in my lips, like I looked in the mirror at my lips, I should say, at that time, like 8 o'clock-ish, and it was still perfectly on my lips. There was a little bit of breakdown right like that spot where your lip goes from wet to dry. You know what I mean? Like right there, like just a little bit of breakdown there. My lips get wet. Like I drink things, you know, I eat food. So that was like to be expected, but I was so impressed with how well it lasted. It has this kind of, like it does stay a little bit sticky, like just a little bit tacky, but I'm giving you like guys like a full review on a lipstick that has nothing to do with the rest of this video, but fuck it, whatever. It just like, it doesn't transfer. Like that's lip liner that transferred. That's what that is. You can see just the littlest bit of transfer, and as the day goes on, it transfers even less. Again, I wore that bright red one yesterday. I kissed my husband goodbye. He was fine. He was fine. Like nothing transferred onto his lips. It was wild. But that kind of like stickiness that it has to it almost makes it a little bit mobile, in the way that like if you kind of start to notice like a little bit of breakdown right towards the center of your lips or something like that, I was able to kind of just do that, and it kind of shifted it back into place. It was really, really cool. Even I have this peachy one, I have the bright red one, and then I have one that's a little bit more like cool toned mauve-y. And I wore the cool toned mauve-y one the other day, and I don't remember what it was that I ate, but I ate something that was a little bit more oily, and it had broken down, like it was still on the outer edges of my lips. It was really just like the center of the bottom of my lip was kind of really faded away, and I just took it out and I put it back on. I didn't, you know how certain liquid lipsticks, like you have to take it off to put it back on because otherwise it just gets real thick and flaky. That one didn't do it at all. I was able to just really touch up right where I needed to, kind of again, and just press it out together where it needed to like mesh everything together, and it was perfectly fine. I do think that maybe this one appears as though it lasts better on my lips. That's not to say that it doesn't last better, but I think it looks less faded throughout the day because it is so close to my natural lip color that you can't, unless you're really like right up at my lips, which no one besides my husband should be, unless you're like really right up at my lips, you can't tell that it's faded away because it just kind of starts to work together with my natural lip color. So I think that that's really cool, and it's a great lipstick, and I highly recommend it, and I want to buy more. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Anyways, this is the final look. I think once the liner and the lashes and everything came together, like it really pulled together. It was a rough start. I considered wiping it off and moving on to my next palette Throwback Thursday like mashup and just nixing this palette all together. I considered it for a second, but I was like, I'm already here. I have therapy at 1. It's now 12:35. I wouldn't have had time to do that anyway. So I need to hurry the fuck up and get off of here. But I considered it. That's kind of where I was at the beginning of this video. So plus I had a good chat with you guys while I was putting on my makeup. So like I didn't want to just waste this whole footage, you know? I didn't want to do that. But I'm glad that it all came together. Obviously, maybe this wasn't the best palette Throwback Thursday example because I used 2 eyeshadow shades, technically 3 if you count that brown, technically 4 actually, 5 if you count the bone shade that I used for my brown one. Regardless, I didn't really go ham into the colors, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys, once this pairing, this like palette with a cream shadow pairing is done, I have them all like pre-planned, pre-planned and like written down, scheduled, ready to go. I have to film them obviously, but like I have all of that done. Once that runs out, I am going to be doing a palette declutter. I'm gonna give this palette like 2 more tries. If it really doesn't impress me again, it's going. I'm gonna save it for the palette declutter. I won't declutter it before then because I mean, why get rid of content when I can save it for the content, you know? But that's where I'm at. That's gonna wrap up today's video. I'm pleased with how my makeup turned out at the end of the day, and that's really what matters, you know? But yeah, that's gonna finish up this video. Using the BH Cosmetics Crystal Zodiac palette and the Stila Glitter and Glow in the shade Wanderlust. Comment down below and let me know if you've used this palette before, and or if you have this palette and how it works for you, because I am really just not thrilled about it, honestly. Like I know that I love the shimmers in this palette. I know that for a fact because that is the same formula. I don't know why I struggled so much today, so I need to just give it a good shot and see where my feelings are. But yeah, comment down below and let me know how you feel about this palette, because I would love to know if it's just me. Did I do something wrong? Or is this like a general consensus situation, you know? But yeah, please subscribe if you have not already. It would mean the world to me. Like this video, ring the bell, do all the things. I hope that you guys have an awesome, awesome day, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!